Disclaimer. We are interested in everything and experts in nothing. We enjoy learning, but get it wrong sometimes. We mean no disrespect, and if we mess up, kindly correct us. Let's take this ride together, unless your intention is to cause harm or distress, in which case, with utmost haste, fuck right off.
So, it's my week. Oh,
Yes.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Roxana.
Okay. And this is our last spooky season episode. Yeah. So we'll have to get...
say that, but spooky season for me goes on farther than October. So if I find another one, y'all are just going to have to deal.
I mean, sure. Whatever interests us is what you listen to, because that's how this works.
Yes.
But theoretically, we will
The
probably
official
move on to
spooky season.
something else. Yeah. So I'm going to do Friday the 13th.
Oh, does this have something to do with the Templars, or is that a lie?
Oh, no, that's in here.
Yay! Okay. I don't know much about it, but go on.
Well, there really wasn't as much as I expected, so it's a little bit lean, to be honest, but we're going to do it anyway.
That's fine.
So, Friday the 13th is considered an unlucky day for those of us in Western cultures.
Okay.
And then it became a massive spooky season franchise. But my question is, why? What made this day unlucky, and where did the superstition come from? Where did this superstition begin? So I dug into it. It's a bit choppy, so we're just going to do some headings.
All right.
So, some basic facts. Friday the 13th occurs at least once every year.
Okay.
Sometimes up to 3 times.
Oh, that would suck if you were super superstitious.
It's a bad year for you. Yeah.
It's a bad year for you. Just make a bunker and go.
Yeah. Any month that starts on a Sunday will have a Friday the 13th, which makes sense because that's math, but I never bothered to do that math. So
I never bothered to do that math either. Damn it. All right, go on.
Yeah. So, origins of the superstition. Per history.com, Western cultures have traditionally liked the number 12 and associated it with good things and completeness.
So 13 is a fucking imposter.
So there are 12 days of Christmas, 12 months, 12 zodiac signs, 12 labors of Hercules, 12 gods of Olympus, and 12 tribes of Israel.
Okay, do you remember that dumbass movie, The Number 28?
Was that Jim Carrey?
Yes, it was. It was one of the serious Jim Carrey ones. It was like a thriller, and like everything was equaling the number 28 as you were listing off these 12 things. I'm like, it's like that stupid ass movie. But like, really, it's just coincidence.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Anyway, so Western culture likes the number 12.
Okay.
Dislikes the number 13. So one origin of the superstition can be traced back to Norse mythology.
Okay.
12 gods were having a dinner party in Valhalla.
Did they not invite the evil fairy because they didn't have enough golden plates?
They did not invite Loki.
Oh, well, fuck them. That's exactly what happened.
No one invited Loki. So
that is always a bad plan.
Loki was pissed and crashed the party. Long story short, because I didn't know who any of these gods were. But I didn't write them down.
That's fair.
Another god died and the earth went dark, and thus the number 13 was considered unlucky.
Was it Balder?
I think Balder was mentioned. He made somebody shoot somebody else.
Yes. Okay. I know this one. Oh shit. I don't remember what Balder's brother was, what his name is. But for some reason, in Norse mythology, he's blind. And for whatever reason, Balder is immortal unless, because there's always an unless, he is pierced by a mistletoe arrow, or just mistletoe.
Yes, it was a mistletoe arrow. Yes, this is it. Yes.
So Loki convinced the blind guy to fire an arrow, and it was, of course, a mistletoe arrow because Loki switched it out, and it hit Balder. I think it was his like twin brother, but it's I don't remember. It's been a long time. Anyway,
yeah, well,
so
look, I read this like 2 days ago, so you're doing better than I did.
Well, there you go.
In any case, I didn't know any of the names and I didn't write it down, but that was the story. So good job.
Okay.
In any case, in that situation, having the 13th there was unlucky. So another theory states that the number 13 is unlucky due to the number of attendees at Jesus's Last Supper, which I can't help but notice that both of these involve a meal and the subsequent death of a god. But just gonna leave that there.
Yeah, we're just gonna leave that there. Yeah.
So history.com also mentions that the ancient code of Hammurabi allegedly omitted the 13th law in a list of rules. Like it just didn't include a 13th one, like they skipped it, kind of like we do the floors. Well, yeah, like you know how there's a lot of like skyscrapers that don't have a 13th floor?
Yeah, I know they do that because of superstition.
Exactly, like that. It went 12, 14.
Right, sure. You know, it's because somebody was hungover and they just forgot to write 13. And so then for the rest of history, we're like, no, the 13th is cursed, when really that guy just should have had an extra cup of coffee.
That's so funny because history.com said, though this was probably a clerical error.
Yes.
Superstitious people sometimes point to this as the proof of 13's long-standing negative associations.
I was right.
Yep. So that's all just
clerical error equals hangover. Yep. All right, go on. Sorry.
So that's all specifically the number 13. Why 13 is bad. Apparently Fridays were also considered unlucky just on their own.
Weird.
Going back to at least the 14th century. It was believed to be an unlucky day to take on a journey or a new project. Apparently,
I think that's still kind of accurate because who the hell wants to start a new project on Friday at 12?
No, it can wait till Monday. That is absolutely a Monday problem. Yeah. So I don't think that's superstition. I just think that's
accurate. But anyway.
Yeah. So that was apparently though mentioned in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. So
okay.
All the way back to that.
Those I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
Moving
on. History.com states some have suggested that the dislike of Friday also has roots in Christian tradition because Jesus was crucified on a Friday.
Oh, that would ruin your day and week.
Yep. Friday was allegedly the day that Eve gave Adam the apple.
Did they really have a 7-day structured week in the
Garden of Eden?
I
don't know how they know this.
All right, go on.
And allegedly, it's also the day that Cain killed Abel.
Okay, really? Somebody's going to look at the calendar of leaves and acorns? I don't know how the hell you... Okay, whatever. All right, I've got problems.
Literally, fuck if I know, but it's fine. So that was for history.com. So 13 is unlucky. Friday is unlucky.
Put them together.
Apparently, yes, they started to put them together at the beginning of the 19th century.
Wow.
So that's where they start to see
a lot more recent than I thought.
In the 1800s. That's where you start to see references to Friday the 13th being particularly unlucky. So there was a French play that included the line, I was born on a Friday, December 13th, 1813. From which come all of my misfortunes.
Yeah, I was going to say that guy's like triple fucked.
So there's that one. There was a different French play, and I did not write down the names because I can't say them.
That's fine. We don't speak other languages well. We barely speak English correctly.
But there was a different French play in 1858 that had the line, I've never had any luck in my life. I was born on a Friday the 13th.
All right.
Clearly, obviously considered a bad omen then.
Seriously biased, but whatever.
There was a biography written about Gioacchino Rossini.
Okay.
An Italian composer.
Okay.
It was written by H.S. Edwards. See, I can say those.
Yeah, those are fine.
Yeah. And in the biography, he wrote, Rossini was surrounded to the last by admiring friends. And if it be true that, like so many Italians, he regarded Fridays as an unlucky day and 13 as an unlucky number, It is remarkable that on Friday, the 13th of November, he passed away.
I mean, how more unlucky can you be than just like straight up death?
Right?
So, especially if you were like fine on the 12th. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah. So this one I almost put in the pop culture thing, but I decided to take it back to this whole here's where they're combining it thing.
Okay.
In 1907, a man named Thomas William Lawson wrote a novel, which he named Friday the 13th.
Okay.
It was about a New York City stockbroker who essentially plays on superstitions about the date to create and capitalize on chaos on Wall Street.
So Loki does Wall Street.
Basically, Loki does Wall Street. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm fair with that.
Yeah. So I went back and forth on if that was pop culture or origins of the whatever.
Right.
Take your pick. So some pushback. In the late 19th century, there was this fucking rebel boss from New York named Captain William Fowler.
Okay.
Who basically was fed up with this whole unlucky 13 concept. And so he decided to form a freaking club aimed at deliberately thumbing their noses at some common customs surrounding it. Most especially the unwritten rule that you shouldn't have 13 guests at a dinner table.
He specifically invited 13 people, and if somebody didn't show up, he invited a stranger.
So, per history.com, the group regularly dined on the 13th day of the month in room 13 of the Knickerbocker Cottage, a popular watering hole Fowler owned. Before sitting down for a 13-course dinner, members would pass beneath a ladder and a banner reading, Morituri te salutamus, which is Latin
to the 13th?
Nope. It's Latin for those of us who are about to die, salute you.
Oh. Oh. Okay, I'm like 13-course meal. The first like 10 courses better be a single almond, or I don't think I could make it.
No, you are so right. I did a 4-course meal on our cruise and I could not. It was too much. It was a 4-course meal, but it was technically 5 because they threw in an extra, like, here's a bread. But like, I could not. It was too much.
I cannot imagine 13 courses. Jesus.
And like some of them were very small courses, and it was no, I can't. That's too much food.
That's still not okay. All right,
with you. Anyway, so yeah, basically they had this club, which is like, oh, you think 13 is unlucky? We're gonna do all of the fucking 13s and not die. So there.
I was gonna say, if that place caught on fire because of the 13 courses and just one pissed off chef, I would just laugh my ass off.
Yeah,
be like, maybe 13's not unlucky, however, you're a fuck.
Yeah, so I find it just freaking badass. Anyway,
yeah.
Also, according to history.com, 4 former US presidents ended up joining that club at some time or another in their lives.
Why are there such weird ass upper class white man clubs that we don't hear about, but you're pretty sure they're like ruling the world?
Yeah, so Chester A. Arthur, Grover Cleveland, Benjamin Harrison, and Theodore Roosevelt, which that one makes sense.
That one, okay.
That one makes total sense.
That absolutely tracks. I don't know about the others, but that last one tracks.
It tracks. So that was a fun little fact.
Yep.
So I guess some science is the next heading.
Okay.
Oh God, help me.
We are not scientists. Disclaimer.
It's technically English.
That doesn't mean anything when it's science.
Paraskevidekatriophobia.
Is that this terrified of the number 13?
It's
13.
Fear of the number 13. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, sorry, that's not what I wrote, but that is what it is, because the next one is what I wrote. I just wrote it twice. 2 different words, wrote the same definition. Wrong.
Okay.
Yes. The first one, paraskevidekatriophobia.
I don't think that's English. That's got to be like Greek or some shit.
It's
phobia is English. All right, moving on.
It's all, well, you know, a lot of English has like Greek and Latin roots, but it's technically English.
Because we're like 50 languages beating up other languages in the alley and stealing their pronouns.
Yes. Frigatriskaidekaphobia is fear of Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Side note, Frigga was a Norse goddess for whom
Friday is named. Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, Frigga, that's what Friday's named after.
Okay, so triskaidekaphobia, isn't that fear of the number 13? Because I can say that because I've heard of it.
You're gonna have to Google it.
Maybe I have two different terms for the same
thing. Same thing. I mean,
there are two different terms for the same thing. Let me try this word again.
I wouldn't be terribly shocked if they were. Oh,
it also says it's fear of Friday the 13th. So there's just two different terms for the same thing.
One has a Norse origin. That is rude.
That's rude. I thought I messed up. I didn't. I just didn't realize they were both there. Okay, my bad. Two different words. Take your pick. I personally find frigatriskaidekaphobia way easier to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, whatever one floats your boat.
Yes.
Anyway, also, under this category of science, a 1993 study suggested that more car accidents occur on Friday the 13th.
That's probably because people are being superstitious and paranoid.
Well, except subsequent studies have actually found the opposite to be true.
Oh, because everybody's being overly cautious?
Yes. So that's funny to me.
That is funny.
Okay, so some historical events, things that actually fucking did happen on Friday the 13th.
Okay.
I'm just going to list them.
That works for me.
Friday the 13th, 1307, officers of King Philip IV of France.
Yes.
Arrested and then subsequently executed many of the Knights Templar.
Knights of the Templar, yeah. Okay.
They arrested hundreds. I don't know how many they executed, but in 1940, Germany bombed Buckingham Palace on a Friday the 13th.
You know they did that shit on purpose.
They might have. In 1964, there was the murder of Kitty Genovese.
Okay.
Which is apparently a really notorious murder in New York, which I've never heard about. So possible future episode, but that happened.
I feel like I know that last name, and I think it was a crime family. Was it wrong?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know. The brief, this tiny little bout of reading that I did was like, there was a like sort of almost like urban legend that like a bunch of people just stood by and watched as she was murdered and nobody helped, but that actually
I remember hearing about that.
It's that apparently I'd never heard of it, but
that's not that wasn't anything to do with the crime family. I remember hearing that rumor.
So we should look into that another time, but that's not today. In November 1970, a cyclone hit Bangladesh and killed more than 300,000 people.
Jesus Christ.
I feel like that's a little more than just an unlucky day, but sure.
I feel it's an unlucky series of days, but okay.
In October 1972, there was a Chilean Air Force plane that disappeared in the Andes on a Friday the 13th.
Sucks.
September,
why do people keep flying around the Andes? It just doesn't seem to end well. A soccer team and moving
on. In September of 1996, the death of rapper Tupac Shakur.
I didn't know he died on Friday the 13th.
Apparently he did.
Oh, fuck. All right.
And then the most recent one they listed, all of these came off of history.com, by the way, was January 2012, the crash of the Costa Concordia cruise ship off the coast of Italy, which killed 30 people.
That sucks.
And then finally, last heading, super brief, Friday the 13th movie franchise.
Yes.
It began in 1980 and currently has 12 installments. The most recent was released in 2009.
Was that Freddy versus Jason?
That was the 11th one. There was one after that.
Okay. I don't know which one was after that. Well, ironically, I've never seen those movies because I'm not a horror movie person.
I have not either. Like we talked about in the whole Freddy Krueger.
Yep.
But I've never seen any of the classics.
I've never seen any of those either because I jump scare so damn easy. I don't really like horror movies. So,
and for me, it's the suspense, like we said.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so that's what I've got. That's Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I knew about the Knights Templar because I don't remember where I read that, but because it's so far back historically, they were citing that as why Friday the 13th was unlucky, which I'm like, a mass murder of anything on any day, you would make that think that was unlucky. But,
but it hasn't happened any other time.
Right. I'm like, it's not like a yearly thing. A bunch of Crusaders are killing Templars.
Yeah. I mean, there's been how many mass murders in just our lifetime, and we don't become superstitious about those dates.
So, that's a disgusting, sad theory. Okay, moving on.
Sorry about it. I'm just saying, I question it. I think religion makes more sense as the origin of a superstition.
Yes.
That makes more sense. So anyway, that's what I got. So if you enjoyed the podcast, give us a like, share, subscribe on any platform. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Our Trivial Obsessions. We're on Twitter at Our Trivial Pod. We have a website, www.ourtrivialobsessions.com. That's where you're going to find our episode bonuses, references, and extras. And you can email us at randomqueensobsessed@gmail.com. Random.
Because we are.
Queens.
Because we are.
Obsessed. Because we do. So send us an email there with anything you'd like to add to the conversation or any topic requests for a future episode. And with that, we will see you next week.